Hello, guys, and welcome to episode 2 of the Witch King podcast. Today we have a very special guest in Mr. Finlay Ivan Staniforth. How are we doing, Finlay?
I'm doing pretty good, look.
How about Ivan? How's he doing?
He's alright as well. He's just sitting next to me.
Nice. We decided to ask Finlay just to join this week because he's been on a bit of a rampage on the events just now, and rather than kind of go through interviews, I thought we'd just get his opinions on everything. So it'll be good. There's a bit of a crowd in here, 5 just now. How are we doing, Dave?
Aye, good man, yeah.
Good. We'll get into your Ardacon rampage as well, actually. But yeah, you enjoy yourself, yeah?
Brilliant, yeah, lots to say on that, but we'll get to that later in the show.
Cool. How we doing, Lidl? How was Benidorm?
Sunny, hot, just what you want.
Aye. Did you get the taps off?
What off?
You couldn't get your taps off on the podcast, so you save it for Benidorm. No.
But you did.
You get me cancelled 2 episodes in with that skeleton of my body.
You see the beautiful tan line.
Mark, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing alright. I've not done anything nearly as interesting as the other two, but I'll try and give opinions.
Just building your wedding venue.
Just building barns, basically. That's been me for the last 3 weeks.
It is very random, but I'm into it. Aye. So today we've got another host of events coming up. We'll speak about the... I guess we just get started, really. The first event we're going to go into is Line of Durin 2. It's a GBHL 90. It's hosted by a very sound man, Jack Brawley, Vlad's in Glasgow. 28 players, points, it was 707 points, that sounds right, 707.
Yeah,
the only thing worth mentioning in terms of funky list creation was you got to pick 2 of the dwarven rings, which each had sort of like special rules they gave you. I mean, I know there's one you got a flame burst for 3 per turn, and there's one that was a banner effect, which is pretty much what everyone took from what I understood. But there was other things, wasn't there? Like +1 strength?
Yeah, so there was the option to get +1 strength, there's an option for +1 defense, one for +2 movement. I feel there's a Fortify Spirit one as well.
There's a Fortify Spirit,
and then Ring of Durin itself.
The actual Ring of Durin, which Durin gets, which is a 1 use priority reroll.
I guess I'd like to maybe go through what people chose, but I think the best thing to do is just go over your list in, Finlay. I've got it here. It was Muster of Isengard, is that right?
Yeah, so I took Muster of Isengard purely because I'd literally just bought the army as well. So you'll notice from the list, I've got a ridiculous amount of crossbows. I've not got the exact scenarios to hand played at the tournament, but off the top of my head, it was Stake a Claim, which is a very movement-based scenario, at least for the start of it. Then it was straight into Sight of Power, or Sights of Power, whatever it's called. Maelstrom, and you have to move about a lot as well, so not a lot of opportunity for shooting. Number 3, the Treasure Hoard scenario. So, again, a lot of moving, no shooting. And 4, Retrieval. So I got to basically deploy in my face, so no shooting. So I didn't really take too optimal a list to this tournament. I shot a maximum of 12 crossbow shots over the whole event. So probably could have done a lot of shields. But the list, it felt really good. I played humans in 2 matchups.
So like for the audio listeners, I'll just quickly run through that for you. So it was Saruman leading a bunch of Urukai, like you say, 4 crossbows, 6 pikes, 1 with a shield, and a berserker to round that off. Frasco, similar loadout really, crossbows, pikes, shield, berserker, a captain, and then a Grima. So yeah, kind of like a proxy version of White Hand in a way.
Yeah,
really.
Basically the troops are a bit stronger and they get the hatred man, but you're missing out on like the lightning strike and everything like that.
Also, am I right in saying that the banner ring that you've taken there is one of your dwarven rings counts for banner VPs, hence why you've not got a banner in the actual list?
Yeah, so typically the list, you kind of want that army at about 750 points because it's kind of hard to get everything you need, so obviously 707, not needing to pay for a banner, felt quite optimal for the list. Yeah, so I've got the banner ring on Vrasku, so he would count as a banner for VPs, but we didn't actually play any scenarios where banners mattered for VPs. And I took some forbidden technology with Grima.
Yeah.
So basically, the reason I wanted to take this list as well as it being a new army is because I thought it'd be really funny because Grima's rules specify what actually reveals him as a traitor, and casting spells is not one of the things that reveal him. I checked with the TO, and he thought it'd be funny as well if Grima just didn't reveal himself for flame bursting. So I gave him the flame burst ring. The unfortunate thing is every other human on the planet, bar like one or two people, decided to take the flame burst ring as well. So Grima was not safe against any army, but it was still quite funny. I can see. I can go through some of my matchups as well if you want.
And just to recap, I forgot to mention, it was a 4-game event. Is that right? It was 4 games you played.
Yeah, so it's 4
points.
games.
Yeah.
My first couple of matchups I don't think were as interesting. So like my stake and claim matchup, it was very much I just walk into the middle of the board. I have more guys. I win off a tally and up the points. And then my next matchup, I just kind of win a maelstrom. In the Sights of Power, I kind of win a maelstrom roll off, and then it just kind of goes my way. So like those 2 games weren't particularly interesting. But then my game 3, I played Fraser, who came 3rd place at the event, with his Shadow of Angmar list with all the werewolves and Barrow-wights. That was quite a tough matchup. I played him in the Treasure Hoard mission, and basically I kind of squeaked a win there, to be fair. I just started winning fights against the 5 werewolves and just killing them. And there's not really much you can do once I start killing them, basically. So I got a decently decisive win there that would have been a pretty major win if I got an extra turn just off of him, because I could actually catch the Shadow of Rudarin's leader and make him like drop all his relics and stuff like that. So that was quite a tight game. And then my game 4 was probably the tightest game I've actually played all year. It was against Connor Kerr. I've played him quite a lot this year because I typically meet him kind of at the top tables. And he's been running that Arnor all year, which is pretty tough. And basically, I won that game purely off the luck of winning the last priority of the game. Turn 1, I killed 13 of his Arnor warriors. Just absolutely wreck them in combat, and then after that, the game sort of turns into what Arnor kind of do best with the priority bully you, because they've got their plan tier, so I don't have a plan tier effectively in that matchup, and their foresight points just allow them to take priority over and over again.
Well, actually, if you ask Michael Henry at Ardacon, he would. We've got.
Arnor are bad at winning priority if you don't use their priority tools.
he'll be kicking himself. He's said to me that he was loving the podcast, so maybe there's a wee shout out for you, Michael. Remember your Palantir and your foresight points, mate.
But yeah, then Connor done sort of the stuff that he does best as well. Something I think he does really well as a player is he's really good at just like position and models, like if that makes sense. Like he's not a person that needs a flashy hero to do something. Like he knows how to move his models to win a game, basically, as stupid as that sounds.
I think that's interesting what Dave's good at as well. I think there's a lot of skill in even just where you back off, where where you position. There's a lot in it, but yeah,
absolutely. And I think Arnor's one of the better armies if you play like that. Basically, it's just a pain to play against because of those Malbeth saves. But
well, not when you're killing 13 guys in a turn. So
I managed to transfix him for quite a lot of that game, to be fair. And then the last turn of the game, basically, I compel his guy to drop the retrieval prize and pick up his retrieval prize, so I'd squeak a free VP win there, basically. But Connor's been doing really well this year as well. He's been doing well to get to the top tables of events and stuff like that. Unfortunately, he's just lost that very last game, but he's doing really well to consistently get there every tournament, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you ended up taking the win.
How did you find the free heroic marches in that list, Finlay?
At that event, insanely useful. I'm struggling a lot of time writing lists now because every single time I look at a list, if it doesn't have a heroic march, it just has to go in the bin now. Like, I'm a believer that you absolutely need to have heroic march in every army. Especially in this edition, there's a lot more scenarios that kind of split things up as well, so you kind of want multiple marches. So having that free heroic march at the start of each game, especially since Vrasku gets the heroic march as well, because it's just Unikai heroes get to call a heroic march for free, and he's got it as well. So you can double march, so you can cover your entire army. That extra 3-inch movements, 3-inch movements are really big deal breaker.
Imagine, especially in Stake of Claim, that's going to be super handy.
It actually does nothing in Stake of Claim. You cannot use the rule in Stake of Claim because it happens at the start of your first turn, so you are not on the board, so you cannot actually use it in Stake of Claim, which is quite funny.
No, you're thinking of Sites of Power.
You're completely correct there.
Stake of Claim's the fortification point one. It's really good in that mission.
Similar names. I'm using the alliteration there. It's really good in Sites of Power, actually. Sites of Power, it allows you to instantly get on all of the objectives. That's me just being silly. Yeah, Sites of Power is really bad. Stake of Claim, really good.
Yeah. Mark, Lidl, any questions?
No. I played Corner game too, so I know exactly what you're saying.
Well, actually, I guess what we should do, add a bit of context here. So, Finlay was first, then taking second was Stuart Collette. Is that what we said?
Yeah, Stuart. Yeah. I don't we don't have his list to hand because it wasn't on Longshanks, but he was running a Depths of Moria list.
It was
the Balrog, because I played against Stuart game 3, which was Treasure Road, and it was the Balrog, just a kind of standard Balrog list at 700 points, Balrog 3 captains, and he had a Smarter and a Prowlers, and then just like a few bows and the rest Spear and Shield Goblins. So yeah, we know it's a really good list. Certainly the list the game I played him in, he did really well to get the Treasure Hoards tokens onto the Balrog, and once they're on the Balrog, it's just like you're not winning that game because you're not going to kill the Balrog and get them back. So he managed to get all 3 that were on his side on the Balrog, and it's like, it's going to be a very, very tough uphill battle for the year. So yeah, Stuart's been doing quite well with that sort of stuff this year.
He came second, and then third.
Yeah, he was 3 in a draw.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, we've kind of covered speed there, sort of Balrog. I guess it's been covered from head to toe, I guess. Could the Balrog take one of the rings then? Like, the Durin's rings?
No, so they did have a couple of restrictions on the rings, which I guess we should cover on that, and it was that had to be a non-monster hero, so the Balrog couldn't take it for that reason. Also had to be a hero below Legends tier, so another reason why Balrog couldn't take it, but and you couldn't put it onto a hero who already has a Ring of Power, so like Elrond, Gandalf, they have the Elven rings, albeit Elrond's probably a hero legend in all the lists he's in, maybe not Last Alliance. Either way, anyway, if you've already got a Ring of Power, you couldn't take it. If you're at the one ring, again, you couldn't take it. You could put the Flame Burst ring onto a spellcaster, and if they could, that would allow them to cast 2 spells a turn, both their normal spell, and you just basically got a 3 point of will every turn that you had to use on Flame Burst.
You couldn't choose to use that 3 point of will on an existing spell and then forgo your
the 3 point of will is only for Flame Burst, and you cannot add your will to help cast it.
Yeah, you just got a single 3 point of will every turn to cast, to use on Flame Burst, and it was like 3+ to cast it.
Another important thing to note as well is if the model was already a spellcaster, you could cast this Flame Burst in addition to their spell each turn.
Yeah, which is pretty nice.
I remember Dobie did go, and he was asking me, and I was like, Jesus Christ, if you don't take that Flame Burst ring, then like it's a bit too good, to be honest.
Especially since
utility.
The word got out beforehand as well that I was taking Grima.
Well, actually, so I noticed this about the Grima sort of interaction, and I was like, but the problem I had was like, there's going to be so many Flame Bursts to kill Grima anyway, but I guess you just deploy him on your side, because Grima's just that good, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Yeah, that's probably a thing to mention as well, is all but one person I played against had the Flame Burst ring, so every game he just had to deploy in my army.
What were the 2 rings that were used in the army that he didn't take it? Because I would have thought for the majority of lists, I would always be going Banner Flame Burst for.
Yeah.
So it was
Basically, anyway.
against Rhys Gilmore's Dale. He had he had banner and extra defense on Girion,
Alright, okay.
which I'm pretty sure was actually illegal because Girion is a hero of legend. But like, I don't think it mattered that much.
I think
Unless he isn't a hero legend, he might just be a Valor, which in that case is fine.
He
I
is a
need to double
hero
check.
legend
in
yeah.
Dale, I think
in
he
Dale
is.
list. Yeah, he is.
I actually quite like the +1 defense ring, particularly if you are already like a defense 8 model, like that sweet spot. You go up to defense 9 and then strength 4 suddenly needing that extra dice to wound you, which I've quite liked. I did take it myself, but Flame
did
Burst
you?
just seemed like the best one, I think, for
I
most
think,
people
like,
certainly.
The defense thing kind of just gives you more of what you've got. I think Flame Burst is just an extra sort of like. But yeah, I agree. Sorry, we're going to say
No.
something there, Ludo.
No, I had Flame Burst on Denethor because he kind of wants to be standing at the back anyway, out of harm's way. And I had the baby banner on Boromir.
So actually, we've not really spoke about third, which was Fraser. He was taking the Shadows of Ruadur. Shadows of Angmar, innit? How do you pronounce this guy's name? I always get it wrong.
Shadow
I
of
think it's-
Rudar.
Ah, Christ.
Yeah. Both me and Dave played him, I'm pretty sure. I know I played him, I'm pretty sure Dave played him as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I played Fraser game 2
Game
in
two.
Sight
So-
Seeker.
Just before we go into that, he's got the Shadow of Rudar, he's got a bunch of werewolves, wargs, spectres, I got an orc with the banners, an orc with a banner, yeah. I don't know what rings he took, but it's mostly barrow wights, werewolf, spectres. It's quite an interesting list. I know that.
Yeah, so
he's-
I can let you know he took the banner ring on a barrow white and he took the flame burst ring on a Shadow of Rudar.
Okay, it does say Ring of Dwalin in his list here.
You ring
Yeah,
Cheaty's Wallin
they
was
had
the banner one.
names relating to different dwarves, but they had those effects.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Quite glad that this list has popped up here actually, because it's one that I don't think we've spoken about yet on the podcast yet, and it's been quite prominent for the last little while. I saw it at WTC, and we've seen a number of players in Scotland running it over the last kind of few tournaments. Oh well, we've seen mainly Fraser doing it, but I know Ian's been talking about it as well.
Mhm.
So I'm quite glad that's popped up because it's a bit left field compared to most
Yeah,
things. It's not
definitely, yeah.
conventional by any means.
It's not your depths of Moria by any stretch. Anyone, Lidl, what do you think about that list?
I played something similar at WTC, so I know how annoying and effective it can be. There's a lot of bits of terrain, so when you get bottlenecked, there's no just throw as many bodies as you can at the big scary werewolves and then just outweigh them with dice. If they can
Kinda-
get a nice little bottleneck, they can hold up.
Yeah, it kind of just wants to pick you off one by one, doesn't it? And then pick its time to strike. One of the glaringly obvious issues with this is that they don't have. It's fast, but it doesn't have great ways of picking up objectives because all your werewolves are beasts. So like you can't. In your head, it's fast, but you're not going to go running and pick up a bunch of heirlooms or a bunch of prizes because they can't do that. So it's a bit weird.
Yeah, but
like,
they can run in and cause roadblocks so your crappy orcs can pick it up, or the Barrowites.
but they don't
I
want to
think in
do
this,
that. Yeah, so there you go.
I think in this list he's got 4 models that can go and pick up objectives, or 4 warrior models that can go and pick up objectives. With 3, is it 3 spectres? Oh no, he's got way more than that. Sorry, he's got 6 spectres.
Got a lot of spectres, yeah.
And then he's got a warrior with a banner that can do it, and then the Barry Whites and the Shadow can pick it up themselves as well. None of them are inherently fast, and he's no march to get them moving. Which kind of
You could
brings us
possibly
onto the-
spectre a prize bearer or like an opponent, and if your opponent has a prize, you
That's
can
true.
spectre it forwards towards you.
Yeah, you've got that little bit of tech, but also with spectres now only being able to pull models directly towards them, get slightly hurt in the new edition doing that kind of thing. Slightly easier to block than they used to be. But the other big weakness with this, I'm interested for those that have played against it, how big a part it played is that the list only actually has 2 might, which 700 points,
Yes.
absolutely nothing.
No, I think that was definitely a weakness. I played it in Sights of Power, which says the Maelstrom one. There's 4 objectives, sort of one in the centre each quarter. And there was a half of the board where there wasn't any might, obviously, because his shadow can only be in one place. And I would just call heroic moves every turn, or one priority. Like the turns where he won priority, I just call heroic moves there, and I was definitely able to pin down the werewolves. And be quite effective in chopping them up, but like they obviously fight 5 massively helps on the Kazagard, fight 5 and bodyguard. The way Fraser was playing it against me certainly was he was relying on the spectres to try and spectre out a model. He'd try and spectre out as many models as he could, charge them with werewolves, try and get the kills on them, and that he was trying to pick models off. It meant the game was quite a slow game, not slow like not played at a slow pace, but that just naturally does slow the game down a little bit. And one thing that's worth mentioning on this tournament was only 1 hour 45-minute rounds, which is a bit short for 707 points, but it's always that trade-off of 4 games versus if you want to play 4 games and you want to play higher points, then you either need to have shorter rounds or a really late finish, and Jax went for the slightly shorter rounds, and yeah, that just, for me, it meant I really struggled to break him in the end. He wasn't nowhere near breaking me, but like I didn't quite manage to get the break done in the 1 hour 45 that we had, and he had guys and objectives in the right place, so he was able to take the win. I think it was 6-5 against me in the end.
Yeah. Another small thing I wanted to just kind of point out on that on the 2 might thing is it really hurts when you lose those move-offs as well. I won both move-offs against the Shadow Rudar, so like he didn't really get to choose where he was moving the entire game.
Yeah, and they're kind of like a mounted army where they get the cav bonus when they charge. You can get the traps on them. It's a really interesting list. I mean, I need to play against it to understand how it works. I feel like, yeah.
I think it's cool. The models are really nice as well. Like the actual werewolf models are very cool. I know they're expensive, but they are like a nice set of models, and I think there's some cool things you can do with like paint jobs and that on it to be very shadowy. And
I just forgot to mention. So Dave, you were there. In fact, Mark, did you play that event?
No, I wasn't there.
All right, so Lidl and Dave, you were at the event. Actually, Dave wasn't just at the event. You won best painted. Is that right?
Yeah, I was pretty surprised, to be honest, because I've had my dwarfs for a while. I've definitely been trying to make some improvements to them of late. Things like the mirrors and that give a little bit of scope for more hobbying and stuff. And I'm really pleased with how the army looks, but like I've never really come close to winning best painted before. But I have just recently added in the mirrors, some new objective markers, and just like touched up a few like things on the bases and stuff, and just tried to make the army look a little bit nicer. There's a few wee additions that I've done to it, and I was pretty delighted to win it. It was nice surprise. Didn't do especially well in the games, but it's nice to go away with some innings.
Are you using Kingdom of Khazad-dûm, or was it the expedition you were playing with?
Kingdom of Khazad-dûm.
Right.
Yeah, it's that what you can.
Of course,
you've got a picture on it. Yeah, it's double 2 dwarf kings and a dwarf captain there, and then just a sort of variety of troops.
How did you do this blue bit on the mirror? Is that just the camera, or is that like actually?
No, that is it's like actual mirrored card.
All right.
And then just cut into shape.
Look at you go, man! Fucking hell!
It took a few attempts.
Hobbyist.
Pretty class.
Sorry, would it be right to say as well you've also touched up your banners and stuff that you've been bringing to the events? Because that's something that I noticed. I think the banners that you've been using look a lot nicer now as well.
I just tried to make a few wee improvements. Like, they're definitely my favourite army, and you want to make them look as nice as I can. So, it's nice that was recognised, because definitely unexpected.
I recognise that you're touching up your banner.
Hey.
That was class, actually. I was really, one thing I always forget is that the fact that the objective markers are much more interactive in this edition. Because obviously you've got to shift them around with the escort the wounded, and it makes, like you say, a kind of a good excuse to start making objective markers now, rather than just being kind of like equipped objectives. Because a lot of last edition was just like you chuck a loom band on your model, and that was really
especially since you can't stand on them now as well, so it gives you a lot more room to like actually have like an objective with a bit of verticality to it and stuff as well. Look like something.
Yeah. I've got a few for some other armies as well, that because as you say, like you can't stand on it. So because previously people would put down these really nice objective markers that had that verticality, but it was just impractical when half the time you wanted your model fully covering the objective marker in the previous edition, and now that's not the case. So nice new scope for.
In one of my
hobbying.
games, I was playing at the
Cool.
scope of Wounded. My opponent tried to pick. I didn't know you couldn't pick up your opponent's objectives, but he picked them up and he started because that we should have caught that. But he started moving them into like his quarter, and I was like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you moving my Wounded models?" And I just picked like. Obviously, it was just objective markers, but it'd be funnier if it actually was like elves. You were trying to like save them. I was like, "What are you doing? Like, you're going the wrong way." Wait, he was going the right way for him, but I was like, "You can't." It turns out you can't move them. It was stupid. I mean, I was getting completely humped, but it was funny. I had to laugh. I was like, "What are you doing, mate?" It was like 20-0. He was going for the 30-0. I was like, "Come on, man, leave my wounded, leave my wounded to die." Right, okay, that's us, I guess, wrapping up there with the line of Durin.
Yeah. I know, just good to say, another good event. And the one thing to call out on Line Durin, the prizes were really, really cool. I think they had. What did you win, Finlay? Was it a sword of some sort?
Yeah, I won an Andril. Me and Fraser both won an Andril because there was two Andrils there for grabs. A Sting and Gimli, the axe that Gimli picks up in Khazad-dûm.
Yeah, so you had four replica weapons, one of which was just raffled off, I think, and the other three were.
Yeah, so I believe it
for the
was Sam
podiums.
Robertson went away with the axe, and that because that was just like randomly raffled to him.
And I, for best painted, I got like a paintbrush washer and stuff, like, which is like an electronic one, which is like washer paintbrush, which is pretty cool, and like a whole like set of some of the nicer GW paint brushes with like a wee paintbrush case and a couple of models as well. Durin and Marden, who I've got painted already, but I dare still find a use for them. So yeah, no, really quality prizes from Jack, which is always nice. We got a wee event dice as well, which was cool.
Who got the picture of the singer from the place?
That would have been
Very
Stuart
good.
Collette. He walked away with Sting.
Yes,
I
he
was
did that.
tempted to take Sting just to troll him because I knew that that's what he wanted and he had to leave early.
Or
but-
was it the wrestler? The retired wrestler? Yeah. Moving on. Right,
But no,
next event. Yeah, War is Upon Us. It was Ross Wooston Mini Woosty. At this time, I think he was running solo without Ian running the event. Because Ian was playing. It was in Falkirk, 20-player GBHL 90 point of GBHL 90 event. It wasn't a 1,000-point event actually. 3 games actually. A lot of us in attendance. Lidl. In fact, Davey weren't there. Of course you weren't there. Lidl, you weren't there either, were you?
Yes, we actually
No,
knew that with their
Came back,
Casper.
came back
Leave
to
it.
Benidorm on the Friday and was drained.
Yeah. So obviously that was unfortunately won by Finlay as well. This is a bit of a trend going on just now. But different
Mr.
list this
Ivan.
time. Ivan.
So, at the moment, I'm 3 in a row for Scottish 90s. But like similar to the Hornburg, which was featured in the last episode, I ran Bjornings at this event. I just really like using Bjornings in Falkirk.
It's just you're not going to use the excuse of it's just another army that I just bought.
To be fair, the first time I won them at Hornburg, I did just buy them, so that's why I wanted to use them. Bjornings, yeah, like at 1,000 points, like the list writes itself. At every point, the list writes itself. To be fair, it's a solid army. I think there's certainly stuff that it's weak against. Like I was kind of being threatened potentially with an elf matchup. I got bailed out by the just the rankings, because if I had to play Lothlorien game 2, which is looking like there's a solid chance of me doing, I probably don't win the event. Basically,
No, you're not meant to admit that.
yeah. A 1,000 points, you get 32 models. It's an insane amount of Bjornings when they're actually on the board just killing things. I can quickly run through like the matchups I went against there as well. We
So
can
it was
obviously
just
speak
there
about
was
the podiums.
no funky list submission in this, wasn't it? It was just 1,000 points.
Just 1,000 points. Yeah,
I think, was it predetermined scenarios, or were they rolled for on the day?
Yeah, it was
they were
predetermined.
predetermined. Yeah, so it was scenario 1 was retrieval, scenario 2 was to the death, and scenario 3 was escort the wounded.
And just with your list there, that where you've got obviously your as many beyond as you can get in both pairs. One thing that I've just noticed there is that you've only got the 7 bows in there, where I think you could have 10. Is that right?
I believe. Yeah,
11,
I think
yeah.
you can have 11 because you'd have 30
Is that 11?
beyondings.
Right, okay. So you could have 11 of them. Is there any particular thought process behind going for about that many and not maxing out, or?
So basically, my thinking is I'd maybe actually take less bows going forward as well at 1,000 points. But the idea is every bow you have is one less guy that's actually particularly good. Like obviously they're still good at fighting, but there's one less guy that's like scary to be having a fight against you. Because like if just a regular Bjorning's fighting like a dwarf, like the dwarf's not even that scared of them. Like, no, sorry, not regular Bjorning, bow Bjorning, sorry. So like when they're needing 60s to win still, like they're not actually that scary.
Yeah, and that's they have Burley, don't they? And they swap out the hand and a half weapon for the bow, so they lose the +1 to wind.
So effectively, what the bows are there for are the guys that you're going to kind of want to sit around towards objectives, because like retrieval and stuff, you want to have some guys back, and like escort the wounded and stuff. It's nice to have a couple of guys that you can extra guys like just kind of hold back for further back roadblocks and stuff like that. And they're kind of there to bully people who just don't bring bows.
Can I ask a really stupid question about Bjornins, right? What happens when you've maxed out both warbands? What else can you take?
Nothing.
Really? It's just
The list caps at 1,060 points.
Really?
Just
Because
slightly more
Legends
generous than
now.
it was last edition. The cap at 1,000.
But to be fair, 1,000 points cap is like probably fine for a list to have.
No, obviously,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just it's quite strange. I guess it's the same with the Eagles as well. Similar,
Well, technically, but eagles you can take 18 eagles,
Yeah.
which are
I
100
think the
points
highest
each.
point event I've ever played is 1,200 or so.
But yeah, another quick thing as well I just want to touch up on the Bjornings as well is it's some stuff that I've been trying to explain at the start of games as well. Because something that's really majorly buffed the Bjornings is the way that Barge works now. Barge is so strong, and like maybe not necessarily every like people know how it works at like 100s and stuff like that, but I feel like there's still a lot of the player a lot of the players that don't quite grasp how strong Barge is at the moment.
Are you referring to just the reliability of it, or do you mean like what?
Well,
element?
both the reliability and the fact that you get to move extra models now.
And move them far.
Yeah. So now, even if they don't want the guys to be in the fight, you can still blast like an extra line of guys away. So it's so much easier to get your models where you want them to be. Effectively, to the point that I think I called one move. No, two. I think I called. Maybe, yeah, I think one move each game.
I heard your brain cogs computing there. If you can remember how many heroic moves you called
Do you want to run down
about a month
exactly?
ago.
Do you want to run down exactly how Barge works this edition? Because I think for a lot of people, it's seeing it on paper doesn't necessarily.
Yeah, so it's maybe one
translate.
thing that'd be easy. Like it's like one of those things that's maybe not the easiest thing to explain over voice as well. It's probably easier with like a diagram and stuff. Maybe I could write one up to to send to Casper. But like, effectively, it's when you win the fight, every model that is touching you, you can move 3 inches in any direction of your choice. And if at any point of that 3-inch move it would touch another model, you get to move that other model a full 3 inches in a direction of your choice as well.
Is that limited to one other model per guy that you moved initially?
Yeah, one other model per initial movement.
That's where you can move the supporting models.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not even just support.
But they don't necessarily have to be the supporter model. So if you're in
Yeah.
But
combat
I mean,
with three
if
guys,
you are supporting, you move the supporting model first, the guy that you're actually in base contact with. So that means you need pretty much a third guy to just stand there and do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but it also means that you can push guys, if you can push a guy 3 inches back into someone who is 3 inches away and push them 3 inches back and push a lot of people off of objectives and things that way.
The big thing as well is it really easily starts to open up the Bjornings being able to get into heroes.
And just so, like, I'm quite comfortable with it in terms of how it works. It is a bit, you spend a lot of time just like zoning out, and it is a bit annoying playing against monsters. But to remind me, can they choose to be trapped instead? That's not an option, is it? Like,
No. So they have to back away, and they have to move in the direction of the monster player's choice.
And can you, like, let's say, for example, the initial 3-inch back off it has like a clear pathway. Can you like purposely make it like ping into a guy, or is it one of those ones where like?
So if they can move free, they have to move free. But I think I've interpreted what you're saying wrong. Sorry. So I just choose a 3-inch direction, and if they can move that 3-inch direction with one model making way, I can move them there, and then that model has to make way.
Yeah, but like if there's a way if they can move 3 inches without hitting any other model, I
can still choose to make them move into the model, and then they make way.
Really?
Only if that would allow them to move the free. So I can only move a model to make way if that would allow the model I'm moving to move the free.
The second, the knock-on guy.
Yeah, so if the first one, it's awkward to try and explain it.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense.
For if a model is required, like if the path that I'm choosing for the first guy to move, if I would need to move another model to make him move that free, I can do that.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. I mean, it's like you say, it's hard to picture, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think what you might have been thinking of, Casper, is that you can't choose a path there they can move less than free if there is an option to move them more than free. So like you can knock people prone. So like say there's like a guy up against a wall, one of the ways that you could move them would be up against the wall. That's only going 2 inches, but there is an option to move them 3 inches in another direction, regardless of whether that's hitting another model or not. You have to go the way that will allow them make them the full free. But hitting models doesn't really matter. They can still hit their one model and move that one model.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean,
and then another little sneaky thing about the bears that I think have been quite generous at pointing out as well is the fact that the way that you transform now happens at the start of your activation, and you place the model in base contact with the bear. The bears have only got 8-inch movement, but their base is like 2.5 wide. So they effectively, on the turn that if they're human, they actually have like a 10.5-inch engagement range.
Was you not trying to claim that if you're paralyzed, you could like transform?
No, not paralyzed. So again, I know what you're talking about, and it was brought up in the last episode. So I was going to make a comment about it, but I'll try and explain my point here. Again, this is not how the rules intended whatsoever, but this is the literal written way that the rule would work. So with Gwahir Screech, there's still a bit of uncertainty on if that happens in everyone within 6 of where Gwahir starts his move, or everyone within 6 where Gwahir ends his move, or wherever Gwahir ends at that point in time. If you're playing it by the rules of where he starts his move, and Bjorn is in that Screech, at the start of his Bjorn's activation, he could turn into Bjorn the Bear. He's now no longer Bjorn, so he can move because he is not the same model that is paralyzed. That's literal the rules.
Just see Dave's face, absolutely.
I understand that sounds stupid, and I wouldn't be upset if a TO said no to that, but like that is literally how the rule would work if that's how you're playing Gwahir Screech.
I'll just preempt it. Get ready for a TO to say no in November.
Oh, yeah, I
was saying that it's good versus evil, so you won't be playing.
Put it this way: if your Bjorn has 2 might and he transforms into Bjorn the Bear, how many might does he have, and why does he have the same amount of might? Because it's the same model.
Because the profile specifies that he uses the same
It's the
might
same
roll fit.
model, Finlay. It's still beyond.
It's not the same model.
Form.
I like it, man, Finlay. I'm on your side. Like,
Exactly.
sweaty as you can. Like, I enjoy it. To be fair, I mean, like there are more mental things that have happened, but yeah, I don't think
If a player's taking Eagles, they deserve it.
Agreed.
Bjornen's much better. Yeah, I suppose they are. Right, okay, let's move on. I spoke about Bjornens enough. I mean, they've got more Bjornens coming up to talk about as well. Second place actually was our close friend Ian McGregor, who actually ended up going with Erebor Reclaimed because he lost his Angmar apparently the week before the event.
I was going
He
to say,
did find them again because he had my goblets.
Some man. I reckon he got a tip off of what lists were going, and he just.
I was sure he was using Angmar as well. I was surprised to see this.
He went for like the most basic Erebor list you've ever saw. I mean,
Fun fact as well, this is my army.
Is it?
Actually,
no, that's
guys
not true.
blowing at some guys.
A couple models are yours.
It's Manori. It's Manori and Ori, actually.
Okay.
Nah, it's cool. Right, go for his list. It was like you say, it is pretty standard Erebor Reclaimed, which, to be honest, I think.
I'm pretty sure the war bands were different to this, though.
Well, this is the list that Ross sent me. But regardless, the makeup of it, generally speaking, is the heroes you go with. And Erebor Reclaimed actually was sort of, if you remember back to the start of the edition, before all the extended books came out and the scenarios, Erebor Reclaimed was very, very common. He went with Thorin, Gloin, Dory. Can't remember what does Dory do again? Which one's he?
He is
one
of the ones that has
Gandalf the T.
He's so he's the one that gets an extra attack for being in range in Nori or Ori.
Yeah. And he's a two-handed weapon guy as well,
He's got
isn't
a two-handed weapon, which is
But-
one of the big things as well, is he can kill troops quite well.
Yeah,
Both
and
are-
Ori fixes that and gives him an extra attack, so it's quite nice synergy.
So as you're right, he has got Ori, Nori, and Beaufort. I always get Beaufort and Biffer mixed up. Which Beaufort? What is he?
Beaufort's the
He's
guy
the
that
annoying
cancels.
anti-special rule guy.
Yeah, he cancels special rules and spells and things
That's right,
affecting models within 3 of them.
Biffer's got like the trumpet thing, like the.
Biffer's got the axe in his head.
Oh
Yeah.
right, yeah. Jesus. As soon as I see the
You are
models, it's
thinking
easy.
of Oin.
Yeah.
Both Nesbit. He's
It's easy when you
Irish,
see the
so
models.
they're
You see the models, I know what they do. It's just the names sometimes elude me. Bunch of crossbows, shield and spear, banner. I mean, it's sort of fairly solid, really. 45 models. Wait, anything to add on this one, really? I mean, I think it was really common at the start of the edition, for sure. I've seen lots of it.
This is based. This is basically the list that I took to Green Hollow earlier in the year, with Nori added in, and I think a couple of extra dwarfs as well. I've done pretty well at Green Hollow with that list.
Which was pre-scenario expansion, wasn't
Yeah,
it? And
Green
I think
Hollow
it
was
was
900.
Yeah, and before the new books, generally.
It's a little hero heavier than I would expect, but I think sometimes you find that at 1,000 points, people do just start spending more points on heroes. Like you think the
thing is,
model
you've got
counts
that many
doesn't go up as
heroes.
much as you'd expect.
You got that many heroes, and you still got 45 guys though, which is pretty solid.
Yeah, 45 guys, a lot of which are defense 8.
Yeah, those troops are quality. Like, they're not very
How many
better
crossbows did he have there?
profiles than
10?
4, 8.
He's not going to win a 1,000-point game via those crossbows, but it's certainly enough to kill a few models against an army that doesn't have a lot of shooting.
You could take more. That I think that's primarily because I own 10 crossbows. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, probably you find at 1,000 points, it gets to the stage where it's like, I don't have more guys painted, so just chuck in some heroes. It's probably quite a lot of that.
yeah,
to
it's
be
a good
honest.
chance
Yeah.
of that.
Nori's a little better now than he was pre-match play guide because
I've argued with Finlay over Nori. I'm a Nori believer.
I'm a naughty hater.
well, he gets
I'm not a big
benefits
fan.
against models that have prizes, which retrieval was one of the missions that you used.
No, he
And-
gets it himself. So I don't think he gets it against somebody who's got a prize. Is that what you said? Sorry, maybe I misheard you.
Yeah, I thought that was the case. Let me just
I believe
check.
as long as he's holding an objective, then he can reroll to wound.
I think it's also against people holding the objective.
All
I'll
right.
double check it though.
I could be sorry.
Yeah, I thought that was the case.
Me correcting Dave is very unlikely. So let's.
Never mind. No, you are completely correct. It's just whilst he holds it.
Was he holds
My
it nice?
God.
I think compared to the other dwarf heroes here, I think he's definitely.
No, wait,
weakest link.
Mark, wait. Give me a moment here.
Yeah, although a small thing that is a little bit annoying as well, though, is he gets to rerolls and failed wins, but he also can't pass objectives. So, like retrieval, sometimes that might be a detriment.
But it's also annoying because, like, in terms of like a score of the wounded, you're not actually ever carrying it because you drop it at the end of your movement,
Yeah. That's the case.
which is a bit annoying because it's probably not really.
Yeah, so he never actually gets that reroll win bonus and escort the wounded.
Sorry, Mark.
He's
when you
got-
go.
He's got that rule, which is nice but quite niche. And other than that, he's kind of just a D9 guy. And D9's nice. It's a roadblock you can throw into things. He's probably not going to die for a while. But he's just kind of a fella with hero stats, which is nice. But compared to the other heroes that are in the list, I think they bring a lot more. And I would personally, I would axe him and bring more boys. Don't think he actually adds that much here.
He does have strike. He's D9, 2 attacks, strength. I know what you're saying. To be fair,
Fight 5 strike is fake.
Aye, last edition of maybe way. This edition not so much.
well,
I think it's very good in Fog of War if it's being used. I know it wasn't one of the prescribed scenarios for this tournament, but
That's definitely true, but you're not exactly wanting for high defense heroes. I mean, 9 is something else, but the rest of them do the job.
yeah. I mean, I think there's like various combinations of Erebor reclaimed. I think now we have within hindsight of Ardacon, there's a lot more of remind me the name, the new Erebor type Legion that's out with Gloin.
Army of Erebor.
Army Erebor, yes.
which seems to be a bit more popular, to say the least.
In my mind, that could supersede this in some situations. It's got, I believe its March access is worse, which is its biggest drawback compared to it, if I remember correctly, but I'd have to have a look at the profiles again.
I think
It will be,
Smart
yeah.
access is instantly worse because every hero in Erebor claim gets March.
Oh yeah, of course.
And they
I'm
can
not sure
charge
who
off a
in
March
Army
as
of
well.
Erebor actually gets it. I
Another
don't-
thing to remember about the Army of Erebor being taken is, although it could just be a lot of people think it's better, I think it's a pretty solid army as well. There is also the chance that there's a lot of people that have played a bunch of Erebor reclaimed with their Ironhill Dwarves, and now they want to play the new army that's just come out.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's a fair point. It's a wee bit, unless your name's Dave or Ali King, who just like play dwarfs to the death. I think for me, as like a new dwarf player, it kind of gets a bit boring fast because the play style is just stubborn, and it's a really good design because they play how you'd think they would play, but there's not much flashiness. And I guess having like a new legion, like you say, might just be some they want to try it.
I know Chris Murphy, he's had played a lot of Erebor Reclaimed at the start edition, and he's moved on to running Army Erebor, but again, I think that's just more to try something different and something new.
Yeah. Just looking at the heroes you have access to there, the March access is quite bad. A lot of the kind of high quality named heroes that you'd want to be bringing don't have it, although you do have access to Dwarf Kings, which are pretty key.
I think,
it's
yeah,
very fortunate to bring them on in.
I think actually I kind of glazed over that point a little bit that Finlay made earlier about his sort of mindset. I mean, we're talking to somebody here that's annoyingly won 3 events in a row, but I mean, fair play. And if somebody like that's doing that well, your mindset is that keen on March, I think for me actually it's really quite good content in that, because March last edition, it was obviously useful, but it wasn't as essential. And like you say, of these new scenarios, I think March really, the more I play, and I'm kind of slower getting into the edition because of life, I do really agree with what you're saying. I think it's really interesting that you think that way. I think it's essential.
Another quite quick thing as well with that as well is another thing that makes March quite important is there's a lot more lists now that can't just like slot in 2 cav from another completely different army. Like there's quite a lot of lists that just do not have access to a fast moving model.
Yeah, you just like chuck in Suladan with 2 Cav or whatever. Like, you can't just do that, obviously. It's like, I need a banner, give me Suladan. I'm needing Cav to chuck in 2 different riders.
Lothlorian's a pretty good example, which also ties into the 3rd place of that event as well with Mr. Toby.
Yeah, well, what I'll do is I'll quickly go over his list. Very well done, Eon. It's good to see you back. I know you've got a wedding and everything going on, so nice to see him back. Not running Treants, which I'm glad to see the back of. I just hate Treants, man. Lothlorien, yeah, Dobie, well done again. Another player who's sort of been able to kind of get back on the scene this year, which is quite cool to see him run something that really similar to the Shadow of Angmar. Not really a lot of people running Lothlorien. We went for Gladriel, Celeborn, Haldir, and Rummel. In terms of warband, it's sort of fairly well. I guess the thing to point out is all pajama elves. Obviously, a couple of sentinels in there, but it's very high in the pajamas. Bunch of bows, the guard of the Gladrim court as well. He did go for the mirror. I know I spoke to him after the event, and he was sort of humming and hawing about the mirror, which we can go on to. But the other thing worth noting as well, I guess, is that it's only one banner, and I think he was saying that, and I do agree now. I mean, if that many guys having two banners would have been probably the right thing going forward. But yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, I think let's bring in Lidl here. You're an elf lover. What do you think of this list?
I'm surprised that it is like pure Lothlorien warriors and not Gladrim, but it's obviously worked for him. Just looking at it now, definitely be taking the mirror at probably the 600 points upwards.
One of the questions, actually, like Dobie phoned me tonight, and he was like, "Right, I need to ask Dave on the podcast. Does the priority go up to 7 if you roll a 6 with the mirror?
No. Nah,
And
it's
is that
capped at a six.
because, like, why? Like, just give me more reasoning than that.
Because it
I'll wait
adds
for
to
my
the
answer.
dice roll, but you can't roll higher than a 6 in the dice.
That's what I said. Like that's like what I said.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the wording was, but it goes. I'm assuming it adds 1 to your dice roll.
It adds 1 to your roll, so the highest the roll can be is a 6. So if you had priority in the previous turn, and your opponent rolls a 6, there's nothing the mirror can do to save you.
Yeah. No, to be fair, I just wasn't sure the reasoning of it, because nothing in the rule book I could kind of see it was like there might
I do
be.
still think it is basically an auto include. As Lidl said, there's 600 points and up, because it is basically, you've played Elrond quite a bit, Casper, yourself, so it's like having a foresight point every turn.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's
Yeah.
so good. Like,
One of the key differences as well, now correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't see much of the mirror last edition, but now, I think last edition you had to be in base contact with it to get your fate back, but now it's actually within 6 inches, which is massive. That is such a big difference.
Yeah, well, that as well. I was like, my main selling point on it is the priority thing, but yeah, the fate restoration is fantastic as well. Like, particularly when you've got stuff like Dale Windlances, that you can just nominate like a Celeborn or something and eat that Windlance shot, use his fate, get it back. Galadriel as well with the rerollable fate, she can get back all her fate points. Very, very good.
Yeah, I definitely think that the sort of flexibility, because you need Celeborn to be kind of up the front somewhat. So even the fact it's 6 inches, like, covers most of the time everywhere you are. I think it's great. In terms of Lothlorien, so obviously it's pajamas heavy. I did have a practice game against them, and I was completely gubbing them. I'm sure they'd admit it. And then I kind of got in, and then like you all know, the thrown weapons can just pop off. Like there is a lot of them. So I don't actually hate the pajamas side of it. I know that's probably controversial, but I don't hate it.
Especially being so low defense, that's exactly why I would have opted for the second banner. I mean, that 1,000 points, you take it anyway. But if your army's defense 3 and you're spending quite a lot of points per guy, you want that extra dice roll to try and win that fight, so you don't just die on a 50-50. Probably
I don't know if
higher than 50-50, because your opponent's probably got the 2 attacks to wind with the support.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was a list building choice or if it was, as you say, like a model availability choice, but I know he was borrowing a lot of these guys from Chris.
I was thinking it was maybe a thematic choice as well.
Well, he actually borrowed my Lothlorien banner bearer, so my pajama banner bearer, and Chris doesn't have any. So if he'd wanted a second banner in there, it would have had to have been an armoured elf, like an armoured elf, which kind of maybe goes against what the rest of the army is.
No, I mean, I only know context.
I can get that, but at the end of the day, it's an extra 1 point.
Yeah.
I think if we're talking about what would have been the stronger army. I think certainly mixing in some Gladrun there definitely makes it better, but it just doesn't look like a list where that's been the primary consideration, really. But and he's done really well with it, in spite of that.
It's basically a list that will not, like, despite being defense free, you're not going to lose very much from shooting. You got the blinding light up there if you need it, and even if you don't get the blinding light up, you're -1 to hit. Elven cloak's all over the shot as well, so if you can get behind bits of terrain, you just like not being shot at all.
One of the biggest things as well that I thought was crazy that I noticed, because I finished my retrieval game quite fast, so I was watching him in his game, is that they just like removed Expert Rider from Gladrun Knights. They just don't have Expert Rider anymore. It's like so like you could pick up the retrieval with his Gladrun Knight. Like I think he might have had 2 Gladrun Knights though. I'm not too sure, but because I think he got the prize on a Gladrun Knight. But like I just thought that was crazy that they just like decided to remove that from them.
It's a similar necessary nerf.
They also can't take their bow and shield anymore.
Yeah, I knew that. That was a big thing.
Yeah, see, there's one in Warband 2 and there's one in Warband 3.
Yeah.
Gladrun Knights.
They're not movement 12 anymore, are they? That's a long gone thing.
I don't even think they're movement 12 last edition.
Really?
No,
Okay.
that was a while ago.
just
But I think they
movement
can. They have fleet foot though.
Yeah, so they could
Yeah,
run
fleet
through
foot.
like the woods and stuff like that. Another
Very
big
nice.
thing as well is like about this list. I think the list is like solid enough. I think I would have liked to have had some Gladrun in the list because there's nothing worse than paying like 9, 10, like how much for a Pajama Elf, 10 points for a War Gear or something like that. There's nothing worse than losing a 10-point model that
9 or 10,
on a wee
depending.
goblin rolling a 4 to win.
I think, yeah, like his matchups. I don't think he played many like swarmy things like that. I don't know, to be honest. I mean, one thing that he did mention to me was the
Well, he got lucky.
Haldir. I mean, you could, yeah. Actually, he did mention that Finlay got lucky. He kept going on about it.
Yeah, I got a bit lucky to avoid this.
I do think like it's quite a tough matchup for the Bjornins because just blind and light, and it was also it would have been a Scort to the Wounded, right? That was the last scenario. So
The double caster would be the big issue for the Bjornins because you get those 2 casters to just shut down the bears, and then Elven Blades, which the Bjornins themselves do not like fighting against.
yeah, it's just that everything's kind of annoying.
One
and your low defense doesn't matter
as well.
Yeah, and the low defense doesn't make any difference really.
I think he did. He was sort of speaking to me about maybe. I know you're a big Haldir lover, Lidl, but he was saying that he kind of felt
Like how you
trapped.
just come out with these random stuff, like.
I mean, you use Haldir all the time. I'm
I
trying to get you involved.
Haldir maybe just as much or more.
All right, okay. I'm just going to mute Lidl for the rest of the call. Everyone else will be happy anyway.
It was like my first year playing, my main army was Lawful Rain.
I think
They used Haldir at Clydewater.
no, that's it. You're muted out. That's it.
But like I think I know what you're going to say, where he would have maybe dropped Haldir for Orifin or something like that. Is that what you're going to say?
No, he was saying that it's kind of like everyone goes on about obviously having might on your bow because obviously his deadly shot. So he's took a cloak and a bow, and he goes, it was a bit stupid really because he wanted the might to be in a bit closer, and he was like obviously very vulnerable without the heavy armor. But it was one of those ones. This army, I would say, I think it's got a fairly high skill cap. I think there's a lot of like you have to get things right because you're D3. You know, the Sentinels have to be doing the right things. The spell casting has to be right. You have to actually think about how you're moving your mirror. And I know these things are kind of somewhat simple, but you've got a lot of like things to get right. I do like the Lothlorien. It's nice to see something different.
Riven Vines is...
Oh yeah, Riven Vines is really fucking good, by the way.
Yeah,
it's a really interesting thing. Really interesting.
I was up against it in my last game at Clydewater, and Stephen Denby was running it, and it was just annoying. Like, if he won priority, he would just cast that, and then my guys couldn't like close in on that flank, and that was the flank that was just getting shot with these archers. So they were just slowly working their way towards the fight and getting shot, but it took them too long to get there. Still won that game, eh? Well,
I do actually think Orifin is like you were going to say, Finn. I think Orifin is really interesting now because he kind of gives you something you don't have. You can also enchanted blades on him, so you can become a bit of a blender.
Yeah, there's a really big thing. I need to actually double check it with Orifin, where like I remember thinking like his rule worked way different. It's actually really good the way his rule works now. I need to double check.
Yeah,
it.
it's we actually spoke about this in our Witch King chat thing. It was like basically you roll A6 in the fight and it doubles all your strikes. So
Yes, I
yeah.
remember. I think it was Nations Cup. Maybe I was speaking with. I think we were speaking in like one of the calls when we're talking about lists and stuff like that, and like I think I just like I read that rule before when Orphan's rules were first released for this edition, but I think I just read like skimmed over it and like
Yeah.
seen it's the exact same rule as last edition, but like they've like mega buffed that rule.
Yeah, it's nasty.
well,
Yes,
I
this
mean,
man Handel.
we can ask the listeners here what they think about it. So, if Orifin rolls a natural 6 when making a dual roll, then he will make double the number of strikes he would normally make.
The extra
Would be
no,
pretty
it's I think it's obvious to be honest, but
I think it's pretty clear it doubles all the attacks. I think that's just been the result of skim reading it.
Yeah,
that's-
but is
that's
this
coming out.
another one where they've kind of rules as written, as in rules intended?
I don't think it's even unintended. I think it might have just been a case of
I
giving
think
them
that's
that buff.
see it
maybe
both
what
ways,
it's
though.
just been last edition to be fair to make
Yeah.
him a good model.
it's
It
just in
wasn't
terms
used
of
very
both
much
ways.
last edition.
But I would have liked to have seen Orifin and Rummel in a like pajama version, so you can run the like where you would have seen them in the book. Just the three of them leading Wood Elves in a list. That would have been cool.
I didn't even know Orifin was canon.
Yeah, he's the brother.
three of them
Baldur's-
meet.
I know, I'm sure.
Obviously, Haldir meets them in the films,
Well,
and it's him and his brothers that meet them in the books.
Does he meet
So that's
Toriel
where
in the
they're
books?
Toriel's just not an entity, period.
What about Bulk?
Bolg is technically Azog, I think.
Yeah.
Bolga's in the books. Yeah.
Like Azog's already dead by that point in the books. It's Bolg that's now the leader.
Yep. Well, Florian, let's wrap this up. Cool to see a different list, and obviously, I actually think we didn't. So, all three of you went undefeated, right? Because there's only 3 games. It's sort of just one
Yeah.
of the.
So
issues.
it's one of it's something. Obviously, it's not like a major criticism on the TO or anything like that, but it's I personally quite dislike a free game tournament. I think it's a lot less definitive on like who kind of wins. Like obviously, I won this tournament, but like so it kind of favoured me like in the matchups I got. But like I feel it's a lot less definitive on like who wins the tournament on a free game tournament because it's like since Ian got a minor win in like his first game, he could not win the tournament from my trajectory. Like it was completely out of his agency.
It's just
Yeah, but-
hard with 1,000 points because to get that 4th game in, you're going to be there to bloody
Yeah,
whatever
I,
time.
I just don't know if I would necessarily do 1,000 points for a one day tournament.
Yeah, I think
think
that's
it's-
spread into 2 days, perhaps. Who was fourth
Kinda-
out of...
Man, you're exposing me. I don't know that. I only go 1, 2, and 3.
I'm trying to think of who it could have been.
Who was it? I don't know.
Maybe
He actually-
maybe Andy King.
He's trolling. Andy
But
King.
I don't know why I
Andy-
called him Andy Stone.
Andy King.
That's insider lore for you.
Anyway, right. Let's get on to
I
best
think
painted.
yeah.
It might have been what's his
Oh,
Alex
it was-
Walker.
Yeah.
Alex Walker. Yeah,
Alex
it
Walker,
was.
yeah, was Mimic.
No, I don't,
I think-
it was other Walker, was it not? I might get mixed up. I
One of
think
the
it was-
Walkers.
No,
it was
it was
Daniel.
Alex. I've just looked at the top
Right.
top Scott stats and I gave him 6 points, so
Yeah.
that'll be for
Yeah.
fourth.
I think one thing I was going to say there is just it's kind of like we touched on a bit earlier with mentioning Jack having the slightly shorter rounds for Lena Durin, is that there is just those number of games, points limit, and how long the day lasts, and those are the 3 decisions that a TO has to make. And it's easy enough to say everyone wants 4 games and you want reasonable round times, but then you always have to be playing lower points. So like I think it is nice that occasionally TOs will try and push the boat up to those higher points limits, but then they do have to either cut a game, which is what Ross has done here, or cut the round times, which is what Jack done for Line of Durin. Now, both times you might get a bit of criticism, but I think equally people would be less happy, or people like it would get a bit boring if every event was just 600 points and less.
Nah,
So,
everyone should just have no commitments in life, and we should always have 2-day events.
I mean, that's fine by me, to be fair.
Especially under current circumstances.
It would be nice to
As
see
the
more
least
2-day
committed
events. To be
person.
fair.
Apart from to the game, of course. That would be fine, but I think there would probably be less people
I'm
at those
totally on board
events.
with what you're saying. Like, just at some points, that maybe that's when an event can become a 2-day.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's so many events that he chose to go with what he went with, and he got 20 players, and I actually...
I don't want to, like, again, I kind of want to reiterate, I don't want that to seem like a jab at the TO, because the event was really nice. I really enjoyed the event.
You got another sword as well, didn't you? Or another weapon of some sort?
Well, I think we should probably maybe go for the rest of the like stuff on the event, and then we can go on to like what kind of things that people were winning and stuff as well.
Well,
sure.
I mean, the best painting we're going to speak about them was won by Matthew Orr, which again, maybe the techers here is to run Khazad-dûm, and you're going to get the best painting.
I think the true technology is to bring a light.
He had a light, to be fair. It was quite nuts. It was a beautiful army, really cool. I mean,
I've only seen the pictures, but it looks awesome. Like,
he came second at Last Alliance, so...
Thing that I really like, I really like the greens on his models. Like, I think it's quite a hard green to like replicate without it looking stupid. But like, I think he's done a really good job with his models. Like, there's certain colours on them that just stand out really well.
Big fan of what he's used for his mirrors as well. I assume they're 3D prints of some kind. But they look pretty class.
Mm-hmm. That sounds cool. I mean,
forbidden dodecahedrons.
With the display boards, I mean, display board meta. What's it? I mean, to be doing. There's loads of good. See, to be honest, there was some really, really good armies at the event. I don't love, this is maybe bad podcast content, but I'm not in love with all the random dragon proxies going around. Maybe something for a moan at the end, but there's a lot of just random dragons that look like they've been like pulled off somebody's shelf as an ornament, chucked a base on them, and then brought them to an event. I don't like it. So I was voting for this. This is my vote.
I really like that Dwarf King model. The Dwarf King sculpts in general are just classic sculpts, but I only own the one of them myself, and the one that he's got there is really nice. Yeah, the basing looks great as well.
4 of them in total, I think.
Yeah, there's 4 different ones, and they're all nice.
You don't have any Vault Warden teams in your list, do you, Dave?
Right now, I've not been running them off late. I think 1,000 points. Yeah, you can probably fit in a couple. Just having a spear on Durin's quite nice. From the painting point of view, yeah, what he's done there looks great. The green on the Vault Warden shields, and they just add a little bit of like something nice in the middle of the board. But no, I find them hard to find a place in the list now because they're neither Fight 5 nor Dominant 2. So.
They were like for about the end of last edition. They were like in vogue for like a month.
Yeah,
somebody bought.
I own 8.
I'd say someone brought about Type 5 or Dominant 2 in my guys, you know. But...
Wasn't there someone who brought about like 20 odd or 30 of them or something to the Masters last year?
Yeah, I think that was Ali King.
Something like that.
No, it's not Sam, I think. Anyway, right.
Sam brought Smaug.
Right. Let's move on. Well, actually,
no, Matt's army looks very nice.
Just a quick thing to talk about, like the prizes and that as well for the event. So everyone on the podium got like a 3D printed bust of Ardacorn, of like sort of like dry brushed to like their podium positions of bronze, silver, gold. It's quite a nice bust. Basically accruing my Falkirk busts at the moment. He done a best general for Evil and Good, which was both the Walkers, which is quite funny. And
familiar names on the podcast.
Yeah. And it's nice to see that like some new faces doing well at events as well. Like that's one of the nicest things is like new people getting into it and showing that they're wanting to play and get better and stuff like that.
We'll need to actually take back what we said last time because they're not actually brothers.
Well, I know Finlay's exposing himself for not listening to episode 1.
I didn't say that they were brothers there. I just said it was both the Walkers.
No, we did in the last
We did
episode.
about 4 times.
To be fair, I think it's reasonable to assume that they're brothers.
Yeah,
'cause
Alex told me that they get all the time, but they're just good mates that just happen to have the same surname. So, you know.
yeah, but then I think
Either
most
that, and he's just totally disowned Danny. Like,
the best general awards, and there's also like a most sporting and everything now. Obviously, they all got. I think it was quite a generous, like £20 store credit. Like,
Nice.
so it's like a nice thing to get as like a top general sort of thing. I wasn't allowed to get top general because we didn't give it to any of the podium positions, so I wasn't allowed to get it for. So it's basically the top for evil and good that weren't on the podium, basically.
Was it just like most kills gotten with your general?
No. This was like the top player for good and top player for evil.
Oh, right, yes,
like top evil general, top good general kind of thing.
Okay.
Like talk about the person themselves as opposed to the general mechanically. But the sword I got, it was Sword of Finlay from The Hobbit. Like it was, it's a nice looking sword and stuff. It's also really weirdly the smallest but heaviest sword I own. Like it weighed a ton. Like there's I've not actually seen the photos from the event yet, but I know that there's photos taken. I'm struggling to hold this sword up.
I've just googled it, and it does look more like a solid metal cricket bat than it does a sword. In fairness.
It's really unique, actually. I don't think I've seen it. Certainly not many times, anyway. Given it was a prize, whereas some
I don't
other
think I've
ones
ever
are
seen it as a prize. That's
a bit
pretty
more
glad.
common.
I know that Minnie was sweating. He was like, I'm going to be losing money on this because this sword's such a beast. So I'm glad you won it. No, that's good. I mean, obviously Ross is running a bunch of events now. It's really cool to see.
Another thing, like outside of prizes and stuff for that event, is the tables at the event have massively improved in quality as well. It's really nice to see that we're getting to some pretty solid terrain at more locations for Scottish events as well.
Yeah.
Like it's not necessarily to bash on anything or that, but like the tables were legitimately good, like top quality. Like I wouldn't be upset to see like that quality tables at like a GBHL 100.
Great. I think it's something he acted on a bit of feedback there, which is always great. Like, because I think at some of the events that had been ran in the arena previously, the people had said the terrain was a bit sparse, which is fair enough because they're like a kind of startup venue. But it's nice to see feedback being taken into account and like people bringing out new terrain and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah, I mean. There's also a couple of issues with lighting they've fixed. So actually, I mean, all you can ask for is take the feedback on board, and I agree, the terrain's getting better. Which actually we can speak a bit about that later on, because I know Dobie's running an event for a bit of like a fundraiser fun day to try and improve on that as well. But we'll come on to that in a minute. What I'd like to move on to now, if we're okay, is close up on the Scottish events, because that's sort of the ones we hadn't covered, and speak about a little bit about the big event that happened 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I don't know. Losing track of time now. When was it you went, Dave?
So 2 weeks, 2 weeks today actually. Ago, I travelled down. On
it was the same weekend as Line Endurance. Same weekend as
War is Upon Us. Yeah, it was. That's why I missed that one. Otherwise, I would have been there as well. Falkirk, obviously, really close for me, but I was down in Manchester.
So yeah, as I say, Ardacon, we previewed it a little bit last episode. Unfortunately, not quite a winner, but a very, very good representation, Dave. We've got the list that came first, second, and third. But before we get into that, do you want to speak a bit about your experience? How did you get on?
Yeah, I know, absolutely. Yes, I think for me, I was at Ardacon last year, but that was the first time I'd been back for a number of years. So I was at some of the early ones, and it's just such a cool event. Like, you get over 100 people. I think there's 116 players this year, which was really good. And it's like people from all over the world as well. So like for myself, I've been playing a long time, so getting to catch up with some of the guys that were around in the really early days of the GBHL, people I used to play on very regular basis, but now maybe only see them once or twice a year at some of the big GBHL hundreds. But also getting a chance to play against people from a variety of other countries as far away as Australia. Like there's always a big Aussie contingent that come over to Ardacon, which is really cool, but like people from America as well. So like I think it's definitely, if you're counting air miles, it's definitely the farthest travelled event that people will come to. And there's so much going on in it as well. Like there's, I think over the course of the tournament, the course of the weekend, there's 5 events. I played in 3 myself. So on the Wednesday, there's like a last chance qualifier thing for the Masters, which I think it's like the top 4 players will qualify for the Masters. And I believe I'm right in thinking that the top 4 players were all French. Some of them, like, well, at least one of them was already in the Masters, but that meant that the Masters tournament of 16 players ended up with 6 French players in it. So they've come over and taken it super seriously. Obviously, they just done really well at WTC as well. They won that, so a bunch of good players from bits of the continent as well in Europe. So that was on the Wednesday. And then Thursday there is a doubles tournament, which is a GBHL 90, and it's like a 2-day doubles tournament. But there's also the International Masters, which I was playing in. As we spoke to Andy Stone last episode, he'd won the Scottish System Open, which was Last Alliance, Lidl's Last Alliance, and but he was unable to go to Ardacon, so the Masters ticket dropped down to me, which meant I got a discounted Masters Ardacon ticket as well. I think it's £120 if you want to play the 5-day tournament, but with my discount for the System Open, that knocked down to 50, which is a really substantial saving. So nice addition to Last Alliance to get that, and certainly a nice prize for anybody to win. But yeah, also just chance to play against these other people who've qualified through tournaments in their home countries, or like some of the guys in Europe, they've qualified. Like I think the say like one of the French guys I think qualified through the Belgium Open. There's an American guy in it who I think qualified for the Danish Open, I think, as well. Been doing a bit of travelling, but a lot of top players in that event. It was a tough time for me, I'm not gonna lie. The first day it went about as badly as it could have went for me in the Masters. I lost all 3 of my games on the first day. Definitely was dreading it a bit after the first day. I'm almost like, why have I come and played in this? Like, and especially like knowing I'm gonna have to come and talk about the podcast. I'm like, am I gonna have to come on the podcast and talk about winning a wooden spoon in the Masters? But I thankfully turned it around a bit on the second day. I won 2 of the 4. I won 2 of the 3 games I played day 2, which meant I did go 2 and 4, which is not a great finish particularly, but you are playing against some of the top players. And I think that I had a couple of bad matchups at the wrong time. Like I opened my tournament against Epsamoria in To the Death, which is not a particularly great mission to play that in. And the guy was really clever about how he played it, that he kept about 26% of his models in his own, like the back corners of the board, along with all his characters other than the Balrog, and he just threw a Balrog and a bunch of goblins at me. And I'm like, I cannot quarter him. I can't get any points for killing heroes. I'm going to keep my own general and my own banner safe, but realistically, I need to break the Balrog here. And if I don't break the Balrog, if I don't like do the 5 wounds in the Balrog to break him, I'm going to lose this game. So I gave that a go and couldn't quite pull off. Like I won 1 fight against the Balrog when I did have 10 dice to wound it, 8 of which were from 2-hand and Kazagard. So I was hoping to put a dent in it there. I only did 1 wound, unfortunately, with those 10 attacks, and I chipped 1 wound off it with shooting, so couldn't break the Balrog, but tough matchup. And one of the other ones that I played was one would come out, which is White Hand. There was 6 armies of White Hand in the Masters, which is maybe telling that obviously people thought it was the best army to bring for the Masters. I think Khazad-dûm match quite well into it, actually, but they don't match very well into it in Recon, which is the game that I had to play it in. I can't remember the guy's actual name, but his screen name on Tourn.ee is Good Beer. He was, we met him at the WTC as well, so, and we'll go on to talk a bit more about him when talking about the actual main Ardacon tournament. But like, he was running Army White Hand in Recon, and I was like, this is going to be a really, really tough game for me just because of the maneuverability with the Crebain. Grima as well can just walk off if he wants them to. But actually, like, I gave it a pretty good go, and I think in the end, like, what cost me the game was I had one turn where I killed 12 models and he killed none, and that put him too close to breaking. And it, like, I think at that point it put him to 20, and I had to kill 23 to break him. So the next turn I was like, oh, I need to not kill 3 models here, because if I break him, he's going to start running and he's just going to get too many guys off. But I killed exactly 3 models, unfortunately. And I ended up being 1 turn off, getting enough guys off the board to actually win that game, which I was very pleased with the performance, because, again, it's a tough match. But the other ones were, good ones. I played against a bunch of elf armies as well, and I played Lothlorien twice. Very different for Dobie's army, though. There was the only Lothlorien, the only defense-free troops he had were sentinels and archers. He'd gone for probably what we'd think is a more traditional Lothlorien list, with just a bunch of Galadriel warriors, some pikemen here and there. He had Celeborn, Galadriel, and I think it was a captain. I think he'd taken a captain because he wanted to march. I think. Yes. No, that was correct, yeah. And I played against the Rivendell army, which was quite an interesting Rivendell army, like kind of Rivendell hordes with the twins, which is interesting. Again, the twins now, they can lead a warband each, which is quite cool. So you had the twins in Arwen at 700 points. You end up able to get quite a lot of Rivendell. That was like for all some of the other ones were like tougher matchups in a way. That was the one game where I just felt like I had enough, like, it was one of those games where you just feel like you can do nothing. Like, I didn't win any move-offs, didn't win the priorities, and then the elves were just doing that elf thing where it's like, I roll a 6, I win. And he's going two-handed all over the shot and killing so many of my guys. Even with a fight 5, it wasn't really helping. That was a proper tough loss, but I did beat both the Lothlorien, won both my games against Lothlorien. So I know a brilliant finish for me in the Masters, but cool experience, and I definitely recommend anybody that gets a chance to play in it. If you're going to one of these events and you know it's a system open, it's a cool thing to try and qualify for, because if you like if you like very competitive side of the game, because like, don't go into it thinking that you're going to get any sort of gimme games, because it is all people who've won top events and stuff around the world, so it is very tough, but it's definitely a cool experience to play in. That other things they had going on, they had Chaos and Arda, which we've kind of is like a 4-player, just fun kind of chaotic game. Like, you draw cards every turn, and the cards have different abilities, like weather abilities, and you can score victory points for doing different things, like and loads of just wacky different special rules. So I played that on the Friday. I ended up not playing it on the Sunday, but I did play it on the Friday, and it's good fun. It's a good laugh. Again, if you've got the time to take part in it, it's like a nice extra wee thing. They also had a seminar from the SBG magazine, which is Damien O'Byrne and Tom Harrison. They've been making the SBG magazine, which I actually think I have. Why not give them a wee plug? Yeah, that is a copy of SBG, but very cool magazine. They've been doing that now for, I don't know, maybe about 10 years or so. And they usually release a new edition of Ardacorn. They didn't do it this year. And the seminar, actually, a lot of the seminar was talking about why their thought process behind not doing it, and why there's a bit of delay on it. And a lot of that was to do with Warren Rohirrim and the new models that have just been recently released. They were banking on some of them being released a bit earlier to get painted for the next bat rep that they're covering. So that's going to probably come out. I dare say it'll probably come out next year. But it was cool, nice kind of like fun seminar. Damien's a lecturer, so quite used to giving those sort of presentations, and it was quite entertaining and quite informative if you like the magazine as well. And Jay Clare, who obviously some of us know, was the rules writer for the game, but he did a quiz on the Saturday night. And yeah, the quiz was just super fun again, like nice variety of rounds about the lore of the game. Some of them maybe inspired by your Saturdays Lidl. There was a round where they showed a stat and you had to pick the hero. There's like 5 of those.
I'll take credit there, aye.
Did your Saturday training?
Thanks for the shout out, Jay. Aye.
Did your training from start Saturday win you that round?
We got 5 out of 5 on that round as a team. I was actually I was teamed up with, there was a couple of Scottish guys that were down. Michael Henry and Rory Campbell were both down, so it was the 3 of us and some Belgian guys and one German guy that were on our quiz team. But good fun, and like some very interactive rounds, like people having to pose as a model and you had to guess which model they were posing as and all this sort of stuff. But it was good fun. So plenty of stuff going on out with the actual main event itself. There was also a one-day doubles tournament, which again I didn't play in, but the other Scottish guys did. Rory and Mike played in that, and Chris Murfitt as well. He played with Joe Holzman's one of the guys from down south that's mates with. They played the one-day doubles. So that just takes place on the Friday. It's a GBHL 80. And then there's a whole bunch of stalls and stuff like Seven City Collectibles, World Champion. He was there. They had some stuff for sale. Fantasy 3D terrain? It's Charles Sims's company anyway. They do a bunch of 3D terrain printing, really nice pieces of terrain. They also supported the event with a lot of terrain, which was great to see actually, because it just meant like there was a lot of really nice boards. And there was the SPG magazine stall, and there was a guy, Brushstroke Miniatures, who was just sitting painting models. You could go up and talk to him, like if you needed any, like you had any questions about painting or any tips that you could ask, which is a nice thing. He was doing the judging for the painting competitions as well. Matt Davies, that does the Generation Shift bases, he had a stall as well. So loads of stuff going on there. And then the main event itself, obviously, is a GBH 100 event. It's a 2-day singles tournament. Kind of 6 rounds, could be a 7th round, depending on how you've done. And it's also like partially a team format as well. You can sign up as part of a team. I wasn't on a team this year, just on my own. But if you do sign up as a team, you do not play against other people from your team at any point, which I think is a nice thing, especially for people like who are travelling from the likes of Australia and stuff like that. Like if you've travelled all the way to Australia, you didn't want to come spend all this money to come to the UK and then play against a couple of people like that you could play in your local tournaments. That'd be a bit rubbish. So the team format stops that from being a thing. And there are obviously prizes for the highest scoring teams, which I think is based on your top 4 scores as a team, just like combined position. Lowest obviously being the one that gets the win. The rounds, I think it was 2 rounds, 700 points, no legacies allowed, and they have a thing called Oaths of Battle as well, which I think, looking at the feedback, it's something they've done the last couple of years. I really like it, but I think some of the feedback was suggesting that maybe it's a little bit complicated for some of the newer players, and it eats a bit of time in at the start of your game. But there's 4 different oaths, and you can veto one that means your opponent can't pick it. It's the same 4 oaths each round. One of them is to kill your opponent's most expensive hero that is not their general. Another one is to kill your opponent's general with your general in combat. Another one is that you nominate either one of your heroes or you nominate troops, in which case it has to be 3 troops, and you have to have them like in your opponent's deployment zone at the end of the game. If it's Maelstrom, it has to be at like within 3 inches of the point of the board where their general came on. Obviously, there's like slightly different deployments, but it has to be behind enemy lines. That's the sort of just it. And the other one is the person who has the lowest model count, which was me in most of my games, places an objective marker on the board. It can't be within 6 inches of any existing objective markers in scenarios where there are, and it has to be within, I think it's 9 inches of the centre line of the board, and that's just another objective marker, and whoever controls it at the end of the game, like you have to control it at the end of the game with double your opponent's models to score that oath. If you score your oath, you get an extra tournament point, which is absolutely massive. Obviously it's 116 players, so you want to separate like how loads of folk are going to go 4 and 2, for example, or like any score really, there's going to be a lot of people on it. So getting an extra tournament point for scoring your oath is really, really big. But denying your opponent their oath is the primary tiebreaker. So that was something I felt you really had to focus on. It was something I was super focused on in my games, and I think actually in my first game I won 7-4 or 7-3. 7-3 I think I won my first game, which doesn't sound like a particularly great victory point difference, but I won 7-3, denied my opponent his oath, and scored my oath. and that's way better than winning 20-0 but not getting your oath and not denying your opponent theirs. Like, so much better to do that. So I like them a lot. I think it's quite a cool thing. I prefer it to victory point difference. It might just be the kind of armies that I'm running, but I know that, like, running Khazad-dûm, I kind of felt that it's maybe, like, if it was just a pure VP diff tournament, it's quite hard to get 20-0 sometimes. Like, some of the objectives maybe where there are, like, stake a claim, for example, you're probably never going to get the treble your opponent's fortification points because you're that bit slower. You don't get to the objectives first. So if it's capture and control, you're probably going to struggle to get the 5 objectives. Other armies can do that and they do it better. Whereas I felt like the oaths were achievable for almost every army. So it seemed like a nicer thing. It's quite a unique selling point as well, Ardacon. So I like them, but if they get rid of them and replace them with someone else next year, it'll not be the end of the world. But I would like to see them stay personally.
See, when you choose the 3 models, does your opponent know which 3 models? So they just have to concentrate on one.
No, you write down, if you're doing that one, you write it down in secret. So you either write down the name of the hero or you just write the word troops. And if it's troops, it just has to be 3 troop models. But that's the kind of structure of the tournament. As I say, it was 3 games each day. No, that's not true at all. It's 4 games on the Saturday and then 2 games on the Sunday, with a third game that's only for the top 2 players. The top 2 players play in a thing called the championship round to decide who is first and second. And that's all streamed as well. Golms Gamers were doing a stream over the course of the weekend. I didn't really watch any because I was playing, but I believe they got quite a lot of viewers just tuning in to 1 game per round. Michael Henry, as you referenced earlier, Casper, was on the stream for game 1. And yeah, it wasn't always the top. Like, it was never, very rarely, apart from if the championship round, I think, was at the top table, but it was usually one of the top 8 tables. In fact, it was always one of the top 8 tables because that was a thing they had. They've got like a sort of balcony upstairs where the top 8 tables play, so they're a wee bit separated from the rest. The Masters is held in the balcony, and the top 8 tables of the singles are held in the balcony. It's pretty warm, like, not gonna lie, but they had quite a few fans and stuff up in the balcony. There was a little bit of heat wave, at least by UK standards, in that weekend. Like, the day I arrived on the Wednesday, it was 30 degrees, so very, very warm. But thankfully, they had a few fans upstairs. Downstairs, a bit cooler, I guess, heat rise and stuff. So, but I played 11 of my 12 games over the weekend on the balcony.
So you ended up then. You were on. Would you 5-1? Did you finish then?
Yeah, I went 5-1. I can run a little. I'll kind of briefly touch on my games. Actually, my list is probably worth. Do you have a copy of my list?
I do not have your list, actually. Do you want to run through it?
Cool. I'll post it in the chat so you can stick it up on the like when you're putting the graphics up on the podcast. But no, my list was King of Khazad-dûm, 36 models. I had Durin with 11 Khazad-guard, so a little bit lower than I may have taken in some lists, but I think the model count's quite important. 36 seemed okay at 700 points. He had 11 Khazad-guard, 2 Iron Guard just for the thrown weapons and a couple of like extra attack, 3 Dwarf Rangers with Dwarf Longbows, 2 Dwarf Warriors with Shield, and then I had a Dwarf King, which also comes with thrown weapons, 6 Dwarf Rangers with Longbows, 6 Dwarf Warriors with Shield, 1 Dwarf Warrior with Banner, 2 Iron Guards, and I had a Dwarf Captain just on his own. The reason for that was because of some of the split deployment scenarios, and actually coincidentally we played Divine Conquer in the first mission, and that meant that Dwarf Captain just goes in a corner on his own, and the rest of my army, touching back into what Finlay was talking about earlier with the importance of Heroic March, the Dwarf King can Heroic March basically my entire army up towards one of the flank objectives and the centre objective as quickly as I can. So that was really useful in the first game, which was Divide and Conquer. But no, it's good games. I say I can touch on some of the games, all of the games, whatever you prefer.
As an outsider, does nobody like Marden? Because he gets the free heroic combat with with
So-
Durin. Is that not something? I don't see anyone else do it when I was reading
You
it.
should
That
read
sounds
Marden's
quite-
profile and then ask that question again.
Is he that bad? It's like 70 points, is he not?
He's only fight 5, and he doesn't have March. So, like, I quite like having the 2 marches with the captain and the king. And the king's fight 6 as well. Jay Clare was using Marden. Interestingly, like, I think there was 4 Khazad-dûm players, and they were all like relatively well known players. There was myself, Jay Clare, Ali King, and Harry Parker. Were all using Khazad-dûm. Jay did use Marden, but like personally, I would always take the king over Marden.
He gets a free combat if how does he get it again?
Gets a free combat if Durin is in combat. Marden gets a free combat, but he has to move as close to Durin's combat as possible, which
So it's
is like fine. But
Derwine.
yeah, there's a few have it. Like I think Sam does Sam have it in the Shire with Rosie's in combat or something like that? Yeah, or Frodo. Yeah, there's
Maybe
a few
Faramir,
models
I
like
don't
that.
remember.
I don't think it's a great rule because you can. There's things you can do so that he doesn't have to just join Durin's combat and he can go in another combat, but it's not the easiest thing to pull off.
He's probably one of the better ones in a way because he's got a spear at least. So usually, if
Yes, you can go and back summon up.
Aye,
I think he's okay. Like, it's a nice model. It's a cool looking model as well. And I wouldn't say I'd never take him, but I would have to be. Maybe if I'd went to Wars Upon Us, it was 1,000 points. I'd have taken him then.
It's interesting because, like I say, I didn't actually know Jay was playing. That's quite interesting because he's been out of the loop for a long time. I mean, obviously, you write the rules, he can't be that out of the loop, but I didn't realise he was playing.
Yeah, I think Ardacon's one of the ones that he'll go to. Again, similar reason to myself, just the social aspect and like catching up with folk. Obviously, he's pretty busy with life, just as a lot of folk are. So he doesn't make as many events as he used to.
Busy wrestling, jumping off the top rope.
Wrestling as well, Johnny Sharp.
Cool. That's a great rundown of the Masters. Obviously, the main event, as you say, you've gone into that was your list in the main event.
Yes, that was my main event list.
Yeah.
My Masters list was a little different.
Yeah.
Maybe not as good. I think Durin actually is a lot better than people think. Didn't have him in the Masters. Did have him in the main event.
She went on a bit of a run. Obviously, quite a fair few games. I don't want to go into too much detail on all of them, but is there any kind of key moments, key sort of things you'd like to
Yeah,
look
I
at?
could just talk about some moments for some of them. The first one, like, I very nearly lost my first game. Durin got paralysed, like, really early on, and then almost wiped out by Aldrak, who's like the Kandum hero. I was playing against Angmar, and it was one bar of white, and it paralysed me. I failed my resist, rolled a 1 on my resist. Brilliant. Now I'm paralysed. Aldrak's ran in. He spent all his might. Durin is now down to 1 wound after first round of combat. And I had to spend all my might to get back up, and then he just got killed by the Witch King. But Dominant 2 was really clutch in that game, and I think I won 7-3, but it came down to a single combat. There was a Dwarf Ranger fighting an Orc, and if he wins the combat, he kills me and takes one of the flank objectives in Divide and Conquer, and just wins the game.
Did he not call a heroic strength against Aldrak? Sorry, with Aldrak against Durin. Or did he just try and like beef you with
He
efficiency?
spent his free might on wound rolls.
I feel like if he's prepared to do that, he probably should have just strength.
Maybe, yeah, maybe, but I mean, Aldrak's strength 5 with +1 to wound anyway, so he's wounding me on 5s, and Mighty Blow. So like probably one of the best. Is he not Burley?
Nah, he's just strength 5.
Oh, okay. Maybe, I mean, I can't remember for sure. He definitely rolled A6, and then I think he just spent his other might to do the wounds.
I think, to be honest,
but
heroic strength, something
I think it's a bit underrated.
It's still kind of, yeah, I think you forget about it at times, don't you?
Especially
no, I mean,
someone like Aldrak, it's so nice as well because he's at exactly that strength that pushes him to 10.
Yeah.
That game was like small moments like that can show how like your tournament can just be very different, because if that Orc kills that Dwarf in the first game, I've lost the first game and suddenly things are very different. But the second game I played against the Army Erebor that we discussed earlier, I think I found the +1 to wound for the spears was not nearly as good against Khazad-dûm because you don't fight in a shield wall so much. Like, I was outflanking him and he didn't have the support, and he wasn't able to use the supporting models as much as you would in a traditional shield wall. So I was able to get a win in that one in Fog of War. Durin was really, really good because he killed the Dwarf King, which was my target. And then that was like also nice chance to play against people of different countries. So that was the second guy I played, was for the Netherlands. Then I played against an Aussie in game 2, which was my one loss against my old friend the Balrog once again in domination. I just kind of got overrun by goblins. Did manage to get my oath though, which was good. I was quite consistently going for the oath that was claim the objective point, which is especially great in missions where, because I'm placing it because I have a smaller army, and you can place it in such a way that a model can be in range of that objective and like one of the other objectives, which is quite useful. So I did get my oath, even though I lost that game to the Balrog army. Yeah, I say that was against one of the Australian guys, Jude. And then I played against another more arrogant game 4, which was my first time playing against a dragon in the new edition. It's good. It has brief fire. It killed a captain in the first turn with a brief fire shot, which was like a yay, Roma won my fate, my captain is dead. But it was lots of battle, and thankfully I was able to kill enough of the goblins to get the win in that. And then day 2, went into day 2 onto upstairs, like in a good position. Chris was also like, Chris Murphy, he was upstairs as well. Day 2, so you're like, I think game 5 feels like a really big game, because if you win it, you're in contention going into the last game. And I played against the Rivendell army, and it was in Treasure Hoard. But he had a bit different for the Rivendell army I'd played. He had Elrond, Arwen, and Lindia, actually, for the multiple nature drafts. But it was quite a small army. It was only 32 models, so I outnumber it. It might have actually only been 30 models. I definitely outnumbered back quite a bit. The Fight 5 of the Khazad was really good. And like definitely the clutchest moment of the entire tournament. He has Elrond. Durin's got 1 wound left. Elrond goes two-handed. He's knocked me down with the Wrath of Brunin. He goes in, does 2 wounds, pick up my 2 dice, give him a good shake. 6 for the Crown of Durin. Pass both the saves. Didn't even need to take the fate point.
Was that some of your dodgy scouring dice there, Dave?
I might have been scouring dice. I did give one to my opponent at the end of the game though. But nah, big 6 there, which was mad. And then I think he got another wound through for like an elf or something, which I did pass the fate save. Durin had one of the objectives in Treasure Hoard as well, so again, like if he dies, I lose my leader and one of the objectives and then lose the game, but managed to clutch through that. That was against another Swedish guy. So another country to tick off, which I don't think I've ever played Sweden. Like, I've never played Sweden in any WTCs or anything, so nice to get a new country to play against as well, which is cool. And then the last game I played against the Balrog, again, pretty much the same army. It was whole ground this time, and that was much better to play it in because of Maelstrom. You come on a bit piecemeal. He's not got the might on the Balrog, so I got to place the Balrog pretty much just away from everything. And because it's whole ground, you don't roll that 1 or 2 to see if the game ends until someone's broken. And the Balrog army doesn't break until you've done half wounds on the Balrog. So I'm able to kill a whole bunch of goblins and just reduce his model count. And then the game only starts rolling. We only start rolling to end the game when I actually break, which took a while. But again, Dominant 2 is huge because if it hadn't been for Dominant 2, I don't claim the middle. Although, to be fair, if it hadn't been for the Balrog being Dominant 10, he doesn't. It's not even close in the slightest. But I think I had like 23 to his 19 in the middle at the end. So happy to end the event getting that Balrog. I was going to say getting the monkey off my back, but getting the Balrog off my back.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, third game of the weekend against the Balrog, finally get a win against it. And I 5-1, finished 9th in the end, so really pleased with that. Yeah, very, very happy with it. 3 oaths, and I denied 5 in my opponent's oaths. So yeah, very, very happy with that finish.
Far? So there was like I don't really massively want to go into too much of the winning list, but we can. But what I wanted to know was, for you, how far off then? So you were 9th. So the way this worked, right, is it just the top 2 going to the championship round? Is that how it works?
Top 2 going to the championship round, yeah.
Yeah. I guess we'll quickly go into that because the lists are mad, to be honest. They had been covered quite extensively on different podcasts, but I think for Scottish guys, or anyone else listening for that matter, it was absolutely mental to see the Men of the West was the undefeated list. Well, actually, it wasn't mental to see Men of the West undefeated, but Men of the West with basically just Aragorn on a horse and Gandalf and Pippin on a horse and a bunch of guys. It was nuts. I couldn't believe. I mean, take absolutely nothing away from it. Obviously, the guy's brilliant, good player, but I mean, what happened there? That's just such a strange list.
It is a very odd list. The guy, I think he played it in the Masters as well. Again, one of the French guys. I think he came 4th in the Masters with that list. So I get the impression it's something that he's very well practiced with, and just must know it inside out. But it was not. I watched a little bit of the Masters stream, not the Masters stream. Sorry, I watched a little bit of the Championship round stream. I was kind of just a bit beat after my games, and I was like, now we get a bit of chance to chill. So we just went to the bar, watched a bit of the football, but chunked the stream on, and was like, wow, this Men of the West list with Aragorn and Gandalf is in the championship round. Like,
I mean, I've seen loads of arguments about, do you take Gwyer, do you not take Gwyer, do you want Gimli? But no, this guy's like, fuck it, give me Gandalf, and doesn't even have his staff.
No.
He does get a reroll to cast though, which actually it's probably a little bit underrated, but I think that's right, isn't it? I'm sure he gets reroll to cast rather than getting the staff.
He gets that instead of the staff.
He gets that to replace the staff.
Absolutely nuts, man. I mean, like the other list that went into the championship round. So the way Ardacon works, for those who are a little bit under prepared for this, I guess, is that the top 2 lists basically go into like a final championship round, which is really cool because both of them, in fact, were they both undefeated, or did the Usurpers, I think, maybe lost a game? Or
so the game, actually, the guy in 3rd place was 6-0 as well. So the guy in 3rd place, which is on the White Hand,
that's tough.
He was 6-0, but he only had a single oath. Whereas the guy in 2nd place, he'd either drawn a game or lost a game. I'm not sure which, but he'd won 5, and then he got a lot of the oaths. So and he denied more than his opponent did. Not denied more than the opponent, sorry, denied more than the other guy who'd went 6-0. So they were tied on points, but again, that just shows how important the oaths are.
Right.
Those extra points.
Am I right in saying that 3rd place Army of the White Hand was Richard Spencer?
Yes, yeah, it was. I
played him
Richard
at Nations Cup, actually.
Oh, nice.
Good player, yeah. Like,
what country was he representing in Nations Cup?
He was playing for Wales.
Played for Wales, right? Because I recognise the name. I saw it say from United Kingdom.
To the death, and he was playing Battle 5 Armies. It was quite a close game. Came down to the last few rounds, and he squeaked. I don't know. That sounds a bit offensive saying that. I think actually, like he got the win against me. Like it was, like I said, I was about to say squeaked there. Like, but it was like a well deserved win and stuff. But it came down to the last few rounds. He seemed like a very solid player, so it's nice to see him put up a performance like that at Ardacon. He's a really nice guy to speak to as well.
Yeah,
nice.
It's not to rush over that. I mean, the Army of the White Hand kind of been covered quite at length, but the overall spoilers winning list though that ended up going into the Men of the West, who did take the full event, was an Usurpers of Edoras list.
Yes,
which. Now, with hindsight, it's easy to say, yeah, everyone sees that. Like, it seems to be a lot of people are going down this path, but I don't think it's definitely up here. Nobody's running it. I know in England they do run it, but the amount of Crebain seems to be going up and up and up and up and up.
I've actually got a bit of input on this one. I think the first time anyone actually seen this list, like at least to the extent it's been running just now, is I'm gonna get this wrong. I think it's like Jan Bytek or maybe something like that. I'm like, again, sorry if I've got that name wrong, but I'm sure his first name is Jan, and it was a Polish player at Nations Cup. He got the best performing individual player at that event, and he was using, I believe it was something like 8 or 10 Crebain at 700 points. And I think there's a few English players that have seen that and thought that list was really good. So they've also been trying it out as well. So it's been getting a lot of traction. But I believe that he was, I guess other people could have had the opinion, but I think he was to do that first. But I think he was the first high profile person at a high profile tournament to do it.
So is the thinking in that list, obviously the Caribbean are fantastic for a lot of objective purposes, but are they just tearing spear supports off things?
Well, it's just that they're immortal as well, basically. Like, they're so hard to kill when you got 10 of them. Like,
you got minimum 10. So the
way you get +1 to win heroes as well. So like, you can just randomly fly 3 Caribbean onto a hero and just kill them.
Yeah, they have obviously this edition. You don't see loads of it, but they're swarms. So just to remind everyone, you can't be trapped basically. So it doesn't really matter too much if they just basically act as a tar pit. Because I was really intrigued by how this worked. Spoke a bit about with Dave and listened to some other podcasts and such. But basically, you just completely, because there's 4 wounds each, isn't there, Finlay?
Yeah, four wounds each. So they're effectively immortal for about 3. It takes about 3 turns to kill them.
Yeah, 4 wounds each, 20 points. I mean, that's already efficiency,
and it can only be hit on 6s with shooting as well.
So you can't shoot them. They fly. If anything, this edition shows you that any sort of horde, they will kill stuff. And like Finlay says, +1 to wound. It's really interesting.
Yeah. I think a big thing as well is another thing about the usurpers list is I think in the start edition, a lot of people were not taking Wolf seriously, and a lot of people were like, that guy is bad. But I think for his points, he just delivers a lot. I think Wolf is a way better model than a lot of people gave him credit for at the start of the edition.
Yeah, +1 to wound against heroes is on a horse with 3 attacks. He's good. I mean, it's easy for us now with hindsight to say, yeah, it's good, because nobody saw it coming. I mean, up here, nobody runs it. And probably a lot of it's nobody owns it. It's probably the other thing.
I think, have we not seen a little bit of Marty playing it? Is that right? Or have I?
Marty and Jamie.
Marty has been running it.
Oh, right.
Jamie not with it as well.
We had it.
Not with nearly as many Creebane, though.
Mm-hmm.
No. We had it for one of our 5 lists at WTC, and Marty was running the Osciliath list for his first 2 games, lost both those games, switched to the usurpers, and then just went 4-2 in the end. But again, that was only with 2 Creebane.
Yeah, I think the power really is in the Creebane, because
I think originally we had just the 1, but I talked them into. I mean, we're dropping 3 guys to gain 1 Creebane, so we're only losing 2 models.
I mean,
we're actually gaining a wound.
Yeah, it's a bit disgusting. You look at that list; it's got 7 Creebane in it. It's got 56 models. What?
Yeah.
No,
I don't think it's not a great coincidence that Army of the White Hand and Usurpers both do really well, both have access to Creebane.
Yeah,
I'd been quite interested to speak. Adrian was the guy's name. He is Good Beer is his name on Tourney, but I'd be interested to hear from him if Usurpers is always his first choice. Because I played, he was the guy I played in the Masters with the Army of the White Hand, but because of the team format, you can't replicate armies. So France had one guy running Army of the White Hand, they couldn't all take it. So I'd be interested to hear from if he always wanted to take Usurpers in the singles, or if it was he had to take it because Army of the White Hand was already in use. Either way, though, he's done fantastically well with it.
Did you see Adrian was one of the people we played against WTC?
I don't think we played. I think we did. I think we did play against him at WTC.
You know what team he would have been on?
I couldn't tell you for sure, but he was on one of the French teams.
Yeah, well done, Adrian. Is Adrian? Did you say then he won? I
think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his surname.
Good Beer.
Good
Beer's a better name.
Aye.
I mean, if anything, he's took something. People are going to be jumping on the bandwagon here big time. I mean, I'll be honest. I looked to buy it, but I just can't bring myself. The play style just is not my kind of thing. But it just does it. Yeah, it's just a lot of crap. It just it's the same way that Army of the White Hand works, really, but just with slight differences, obviously. Worse fighting line, got a bit, you know what it does, really. But the Creebane, I know people are going up to 10, 11, 12, 13 models, which will be interesting for scouring, if it does quite.
I dare say we'll see a fair few of them.
Cap them,
Ardacon very, very good. Hope
One-
to
one
make it.
pair of
I'm
rubber.
certainly planning on. I'm certainly planning on going again next year. Hopefully there'll be a few more Scottish guys because I know there's been quite a lot of interest. And James is pushing it really heavily. It's their 10th anniversary next year, so he's. I can already see them. They've been asking feedback forums and stuff, and just always trying to make little improvements. But for any of the Scottish guys that did go the first couple of years and were maybe a bit put off because it was quite chaotic with scheduling back then. I've beat the last 2 years. It's run super smooth. Like you couldn't. They've made so many improvements in that regard, and it runs really just kind of runs like clockwork now. And hopefully we get a good contingent in next year for the 10th anniversary event.
I'd be up for that. It's just kind of like getting it in between like WTC, Nations Cup, all sorts, because it is a proper like holiday, really, because it is a 3-day away event most of the time, minimum.
Yeah, it's a you kind of want to get the best out. You want to probably play at least 3 days, but definitely worth the trip.
Cool. Yeah, not to try and cut you off because we could speak about this for days. Super interesting. Really proud how well you've done for Scotland. Finishing ninth's amazing. Not quite your win, but maybe next year. In 2017 was it you won?
2017, yeah. But a couple of top 10s as well. I'll
Good
take
shit.
it.
When the dinosaurs
definitely.
roamed the earth.
What?
I mean, I can say
What-
you won 9th place.
What? Going forwards briefly, Casa Doom. You think that's your for the foreseeable then? And there's not much left really yet for the year, but
I think I don't know. I'm definitely going to take them to every event this year. I'll leave that as a little bit of cliffhanger for another event that we might touch on in a couple of episodes time. But yeah, they're probably my bread and butter list, and I dare say I'll have them at most of the events I attend this year. But there's a couple other things that I might be cooking up. So
yeah. What we'll do then is we'll briefly talk about what's coming up next on the calendar. We'll try and tie it up as we've kind of run on a little bit here, but it was good to hear how you go on. But what I'd like to do is, if you can, Lidl, give us a wee update for Top Scot. Have been any interesting movements there?
So you want the calendar or actual Top Scot?
Let's do Top Scot first, and then we'll speak about what's coming up next.
I'll give you we've been going on for quite a while here, so I'll just give you a brief rundown. Sitting in first place for Top Scot, and is unlikely to change for the rest of the year, is Finlay Ivan Staniforth. That boy. Finlay Ivan, the terrible Staniforth. Second, Andrew Stone. Ian Rayers in third, but only because he's not got a 5th score, so that's hurting him. I'm sure he'll improve on that. Alex Burda still winning painting. Rory Savage winning sporting because he's on the Top Scot board, unlike Rory Campbell. So Rory Campbell get to more events. Theme, I've got Jamie Moore on 2, Sam Robertson on 2, and Daniel Cruikshanks on 2. In that order because of, again, Top Scot. Start Saturdays will have changed slightly. The position, not so much. Michael Whiting on 8, Andrew Kerr on 6, David Reid on 4.
So what is if Ian? So Ian's third, did you say just now?
Ian's sitting in third with 32 points. Andrew Stone's got 32 points, but it has a 5th score, which is why he's above him.
So pretty much any podium will take him into second then.
Yeah, I mean, he only needs a 5th place up higher.
That's also assuming Andy doesn't podium as well.
Tight though. Finlay's running away with it. I mean,
Andy would still be podium at that point. He'd be
Well,
sitting in
the thing is, I've already envisioned it. Andy Stone goes on, wins scouting. I come second yet another year in Top Scot.
I think I can speak for all us when I would say we'd love to see Andy Stone winning Scout.
I think like Jen up had like anyone Scottish to win scouring.
I mean, even top 3 is fine, and I'll speak to the TOs, see what we can do. Like
that's cool. No, I mean, yeah.
Trivia Tuesdays, we've got 3 people on 5 points. So in order, because of Top Scot, David Reid, Chris Murphy, and Fraser Gillespie.
Nice.
Fraser managed to get both Start Saturdays there and Trivia Tuesday.
Oh, he's at the double. What a guy.
He did. It was his birthday as well, so he got it on his birthday on Saturday. Best birthday gift he could have got.
Maybe we should start in the future talking about the GBHL region as well, because I think Top Scot's great. It's also quite cool to see us doing well in the region, but
Aye.
maybe
We need a wee rankings update to get more coverage on that, but the top person is still going to be the same top person, so Finlay is having quite the year.
Yeah.
For actual events coming up, we've got Stuart Dobby, you touched on that earlier. It's just a fun narrative day, so it's not an event as such. Tales of Middle Earth, again, all these events are on Facebook, you'll be able to find them and the details. It's a one-day event in Brighton's up in the arena.
Which is Falkirk to everyone not from Falkirk.
It's
Yeah,
September 14th, I believe.
Sunday the 14th September, yeah.
Yeah, so just got to go into that one. He's basically it's narrative themed scenarios he wants to run. I know he's bothered Weathertop off you, Dave, or is it Chris?
Aye. Yeah, we're supporting it with some of the scouring terrain. So if you've enjoyed some of the boards that we've put on and you thought that'd be really cool to play a narrative game, this is your chance. I know I'm quite looking forward to it myself because I never really get to play on our terrain as much as we've got a lot of nice stuff. So getting to play some narrative missions will be really cool.
You're playing your terrain at my event.
I know Weathertop. I don't think that goes.
That's true.
Yeah,
you need to start giving me Weathertop then.
Sort of themed based scenarios. Then the kind of the idea there is to support his local kind of shop, which is cool. Try and get the terrain improved, which is cool as well.
Yeah, the money for the to pay on the day goes towards building terrain for the venue.
Maybe a really good sort of opportunity if you've got a friend who you can't come along to events or can't convince them to go to events. This is probably a good entry point, really, because it's just playing the scenarios you'll have seen in the films. It should be a good laugh, really. I'll try and get down. I actually think I might be out of town, but yeah. After that, I've got your event, Lidl, right? Rule of 2. Do you want to speak a bit about that?
A week after that, you've got to look to East and Dundee.
Yeah, Dundee. Yeah, that's right.
That I believe has got 4 tickets remaining. I think Duncan mentioned last he mentioned anyway. Myself and Dave will be going to that. So you'll be able to go up and get our autographs, you know.
Finlay and Mark, are you going?
I'd like to make it, but it's the day after my birthday. I've got my work night out and that. So
and nobody wants his autograph.
Give somebody else a chance, Finlay. Yeah. May as well.
I'll be at it, so
there you go.
I'll report back.
Yeah. Oh, Mark will be at it as well, right? You'll get 3 of the 4 of us autographing for you. There you go.
And I'm in the parent never get out of the house jail still.
That's it. I'll be £5 an autograph. Anyway, first event in October is my own one, Rule of 2. Again, event page on Facebook. Plenty of tickets remaining.
I'll be running a thematic list for that event.
Are you going?
Yeah.
All right.
I hope so.
I'll be running the most on-theme list at that event, I think.
Well, your bears don't get chibs, eh?
I'm not using them.
I'm looking forward to it. I've heard a lot of people mentioning like armies and that, and I think that's what I've enjoyed about writing this funky pack is the uniqueness of the armies. So 600 points, 4 games, and you have to take heroes in multiples of 2. But every hero must have another hero of a lower tier. And almost every hero will receive Andrio for free.
I actually meant to say, I had a practice game last night of this sort of crazy pack, and it actually was really quite fun. It was a bit strange, but it was good fun.
Did you use?
We played. Actually, I'd never played Convergence before, so we had a go at Convergence, and I thought it was really, really quite a cool scenario as well because it kind of anything that I think kind of forces you to get stuck in a really simple term is always quite good, I think. Plus, there's like the multiple heirlooms, and it was good scenario, good practice game. I'm looking forward to the event. That'd be quite cool.
Almost.
Are you going? You making that one?
Yeah, I think I'll make that one. 1-day events for me this year
Nice.
have been a bit easier to attend.
It was one of the first tickets they bought.
I got the discounted price.
Did. I was hoping to get more people at a discounted price, but I mean, I'll take more money off of people if they want.
I'm fairly surprised. Yeah, it might pick up. I mean, I think probably when your event became live, so to speak, there's a lot of other things going on. So I don't know, maybe near the
It's
time.
died down now, quieting down a bit.
It's still plenty of time for it as well, so plenty of opportunity for people to pick up tickets. Hopefully we do see that.
The prizes are at a standstill until more come in, though, sadly.
Well, if you're listening, buy a ticket to Rule of 2.
That's it. And the thematicness of the event, buy a ticket to Rule of 2.
Dude. Is it a Lord of the Rings event?
Yes, with a touch on something else.
Dave is triggered.
Might get some of the Star Wars Legion players back.
I can't wait for Fraser to show up with like Legion models. Like.
Maybe Hamish will come back. Okay, on that note, I think we'll wrap it up there. Yeah, thanks for joining, Finlay. It was good to have the master of the Scottish region, as much as it pays me to say, join us. Probably have you back for the next event as well, so we may as well just become a regular feature.
Just join the crew. There's like 5 of us.
Yeah, I think we're looking for replacements for Lidl, so Finlay can apply. Yeah, cheers guys, and I will catch you next time. See ya.
Cheers, folks.
Bye.
I'm enjoying my tonic tea cake now.